Welcome to Psyber-Conversations, the show where it's okay to agree to disagree. My name's Josh, and we're continuing our discussion today with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Bob is here, and
What up?
And we're also joined, you'll see them in a second. In addition to me and Bob, we have Matthew, Heather, and Ben from Cinema Gulp. Want to give a big shout out to Cinema Gulp again.
Big shout out to Cinema Gulp.
And if you haven't already done so, please hit like and subscribe. Feel free to comment. It really helps us out. We're really trying to grow this channel now. So I really want to give you a big thank you. In the meantime, our show begins in 3, 2, 1, now.
Peace! Yeah, but I mean, I coming back to these relationships that get established. You got the Drax Mantis thing going on. No. You got Drax and Mantis again, Rocket and Yondu. You got Gamora and Nebula. You've got, then you've got kind of the overall plan. But it as I think back on it, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's like really the whole movie is driven by, I think it was Matthew at the beginning who was like, it's all little vignettes that all kind of feed together. Or you said that. Yeah. Sorry. I can't remember. They say
that, they say that
and
forgetting things is the second sign of getting old.
Yeah. But it's like, again, you got all these vignettes that kind of fit together, and I think it's just an interesting way. If you look at them all in this isolated way, I think that I think overall, I think they were all done pretty well. And everybody had a piece of family trauma.
I didn't really feel
even Taserface had his moments. Come on.
Did you guys know? Interesting.
Did you guys know that Chris Sullivan played Taserface?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! I didn't know that until I was getting ready for this show, because I love Chris Sullivan. But you would not have known it if you didn't know the name. But he was in one of my favorite movies last year, Possession, Steven Soderbergh film. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to detract. But Taserface is kind of an awful. Most of it didn't work as far as the comedy goes, but they gave him a lot of screen time for some reason.
I actually like the scenes with Rocket making fun of this name. But I also, for those of you who don't know, I was reading about it. James Gunn doesn't like Taserface. Didn't want to, the characters from the comics, and he didn't want to use Taserface. And apparently, a lot of people wanted to see Taserface, so he finally said, "All right, I'm going to put him in the movie. I'm going to make him annoying and stupid," and that's why he hit the nail on the head.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, big time.
And as far as, because I didn't get to say this before, so I'm sorry if I'm hopping topics around, but about the Gamora Nebula thing, I mean, I have one sibling, and I think most of us have. Everyone, I don't know about Ben. I don't know you and your family, but I think everyone else here has siblings.
I have an older brother.
So then anyone here could probably say, like, how realistic is that Nebula seems to hate Gamora, but then at the last second, she's like, but I just wanted a sister. It almost seems like she would never have been able to go through with it. At least.
Well, it seems that's like what I was saying, is it's like the intervention without the intervention part. It's like they skip over that steps, and it's like normally that would be like, what are you really feeling right now? I really just wanted a sister, and they kind of skip all that with all the characters in this one, and they kind of just get there. And it's like I didn't expect that to come from Nebula. I just wanted a sister. I was really you spent the whole first time we saw you trying to get Daddy's approval and to show that you're better than Gamora, but really you just wanted a sister.
Yeah. Given the animosity they portrayed in the first movie, it's
because I was saying,
I think it was Matthew who said that they kind of retconned that a little bit.
Yeah.
So
because thinking about it while I was talking, I remembered Nebula did actually fire what she thought was a killing shot at Gamora in the first movie. But in this movie, when she finally has her dead to rights, she doesn't do it.
And even Gamora in this movie picks up that giant freaking minigun and is just screaming. And that's a good reminder of how strong.
Oh, you mean the rocket from the?
Yeah, it was the gun from the ship.
From the ship, yeah. And that's a good reminder of how strong Gamora is. But she had no idea if she was gonna not kill Nebula right there. She clearly was trying to, or something,
Although speaking of strong, we always knew Drax was strong, but I don't remember him being indestructible before. But when he's hanging out the back of the ship and hitting trees,
and jumping through,
I mean, he was actually slamming into trees full speed,
ragdoll,
back of the ship, and I was just kind of like, I don't think he was ever Superman.
Well, I think there's 2 points I'd tack onto that. Is first one, they say he's pretty durable in the first film, at least from what I recall. And secondly, he has that shield or whatever it is around himself as they're entering the atmosphere. So I don't know if that helped. But
the space
thing that looks like bubble wrap.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
Which leads us into, we talked about it already a little bit, is the whole comedy in this versus kind of the emotional balance, because it was like, again, emotional balance in the sense that we had all these emotions that they went through and we got all this backstory, and it was like, family trauma for like everybody. And, but then you've got the, we talked about Drax's comic relief, but talk about the humor more and talk about the, kind of, did it balance, compare it to, volume 1? Because that's at this point, again, everything else aside, how do we look at it, compared to volume 1?
Volume 1 did it better. Volume 1 balanced it a lot better. This one was trying to have more heart and more drama than the first, where the first is a swashbuckling action adventure science fiction movie. This one trying to delve into family and to some serious topics. I have huge turds, my nipples, some of that stuff, it kind of undercuts a lot of what James Gunn was trying to go for, where I think three kind of goes back to a return to form from 1, where it does kind of feel more in line, where this one, it's a little off balance with that stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like the person trying a little too hard to be funny for the crowd,
But I do feel like it was a bit of a progression. Like the comedy went from part 1 to part 2, but they started getting a little more serious, because I did love the ending, how it was surprisingly poignant at the end, after Yondu's death.
But how a lot of people blame, I don't, but there's people that say James Gunn kind of ruined the MCU because he made every movie think it needed to be super funny all the time. I think he was doing that before him, but the scene in particular that, because I just rewatched this last night again in preparation for today, and the scene where you finally get the Avengers shot where you see all the Guardians minus Baby Groot, because he's got the bomb he's trying to set up, but this nice just circulating trucking shot of the whole group, and the music really kicks in, and then Mantis gets hit with like a rock, and it just undercuts that scene right away. Mantis, look out, which is funny. But that scene was really getting me, and then it just did that, and nowadays they go so overboard with that humor in these movies, and a lot of people
we've talked about
overboard.
That. We've talked about that in previous episodes, and it does. I don't know if I'd say it ruins the MCU, because
it doesn't ruin it, no.
But it did take it in a direction that I wasn't as happy with as I could have been, because I really enjoyed phase 1, how every movie was taken pretty seriously. Guardians would never have worked if it was taken seriously, and making them comedies is great, but they should have stuck to Guardians of the Galaxy. Thor Ragnarok, on the other hand, I still like that movie, but the biggest difference compared to the first Thor is a superhero movie with some comedy in it. Thor Ragnarok is a comedy movie that features a superhero in it. And I know part of that was because of Guardians and its success. The other part of it is Chris Hemsworth loves doing comedy, and they wanted to appease him. And that's fine. he's a good actor and he should be happy doing the movies that he does. But still, I wanted to see, and then they go even further with Thor: Love and Thunder, which the less said about that, the better.
Yeah, and he's even said, man, I shot myself in the foot by saying, let's go more comedy, because I did not want Love and Thunder to be how it was. Yeah,
Love and Thunder is like a slapstick. You might as well be watching the Three Stooges, except the Three Stooges is more intelligible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I like the humor when I like the humor when it's witty humor, but when it's like dumb humor, I think that's when it starts to lose me personally.
Harder.
So
the first one just has such a tight, I know you guys already talked about it. It's such a tight script with jokes inserted exactly where they need to be, not at the end of a scene, but at the beginning of a scene.
Right.
Yeah.
So many funny ones in there, because that's to not undercut the scene by ending on some kind of joke.
Right. Or interrupting, like you were talking about with the whole, like, it's an emotional scene. And then suddenly somebody gets hit by a rock or a falling piano or an Acme rocket or whatever.
But I still enjoyed the final scenes in this when it did get like heartbreaking. I fell for it, at least. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. I'm giving off a couple of negatives, but I love this movie. And the ending crushed me as well as, satisfied me too.
Yeah.
Maddie.
Perfect use of one of my favorites. I mean, we'll talk about the soundtrack in a bit, but
the humor, we've already talked about it. I'm one of the people that thinks James Gunn has not only ruined the MCU, but a lot of superhero movies outside of the MCU. And that's not to say he's a bad director, a bad writer. It's just his influence, and nobody stopped him from doing what he did with this movie because that's how he writes, and that's totally acceptable. It's his own
trauma.
Whatever he wants to do is,
dude, I love Trauma, but that's a whole nother podcast. I could talk about that for days. That and Full Moon Entertainment, I could do that. Robot Jocks, it's one of my faves.
Yeah, Stuart Gordon, man. Stuart Gordon.
We haven't heard of in a
indeed.
while.
Sorry.
Robot Jocks. He used to talk about that one all the time when I was a kid.
Movie's awesome.
It's on Tubi. It's on Tubi right now. I mean, we didn't have Pacific Rim. All right, we had
PG,
that.
Though. It shouldn't have been PG. It should have been R. But
dude, they should have totally made it. It should have been R. I mean, geez. But anyway, sorry.
But we talked about Drax being dumbed down for this movie. Some of his one-liners they do make me chuckle, but the turd thing was stupid. Yeah. When he's asking Ego if he had a penis, it's like, okay, first of all,
I don't like
that came out of nowhere.
Does he know what a penis is? Like, he's an alien. Like,
He's like, yes, I have a penis, and it's a pretty good one.
I love that.
Or whatever he said. I was like, wow,
that's what you say. Like, I have
cringe level
systems and a digestive system and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think the humor really takes the forefront, and it was prioritized over telling a cohesive story. And you can definitely feel that. I know all of you guys like this movie. I just find this one to fall into the lower half because humor really started to take over the MCU, starting with this film. And it's apparent, and it's to the film's detriment in a lot of ways, in my opinion. But
it always goes back to Drax for me. Like, he's just a buffoon after the first movie. He's nuts. I mean, he's got emotional,
almost
depth,
sage-like, and
he never really gets his goal in the first one. So I don't know why he's no longer like that. Right. And they give him like a line or two. I still want Thanos, and they don't even give him in any future any moment with Thanos ever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's sidelined for sure. But I think Peter was already the big dumb idiot of the group. Now we have two. And I find that to be frustrating. I do think the comedy works when it comes to some of the Mantis scenes, because she's a new character. We've not seen her before. She's isolated, and we're aware of that. So when she's like crying, but then Drax is laughing her face, that scene does make me laugh. It makes me feel a little bit bad for Mantis, but it's that's what we call
You're very ugly.
Joke.
Yeah. You're beautiful on the inside.
Well, I also like the scenes with Rocket and Yondu trying to explain the fin to Baby Groot. That, like, when he brought out the thumb.
I'm not
Baby
saying
Groot is probably
just the big
50% of why I like this. 50%.
He just brings that giant desk over. They're like, no.
Yeah.
Baby Groot.
But when he brings the thumb and Rocket's like, do you have anything? What?
severed toe. It was a severed toe.
Oh, severed. Yeah, and then he's just like in the left.
Let's just not talk about that one.
Yeah.
Baby Groot really could have ruined this movie, but it was done just right. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't Baby Yoda. It was, because it's like, we're gonna
close.
Yeah, it was good. It did get really close. It did get close. Yeah, I'll give you that. And I'm glad they moved past it the next time we see the Guardians. And he's kind of a angsty teen, which was funny.
Yeah.
But this one, it did come close, but it didn't ruin the movie for me.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. They almost got there.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Was Baby Groot, adorable or overused? And it was because everybody was so enamored with the dancing Baby Groot pot. And that became like an action figure, and everybody thought it was like after the first movie, it was like, oh my gosh, Baby Groot, it's like so amazing. And he's doing the dance scene at the end, and then you get the opener for this one where you've got now somewhat grown toddler, whatever, baby, I guess he's still Baby Groot. We'll go with that. But, we still get Groot. And I was like, oh my gosh, are they like going to capitalize on he's so cute? But I think you're right, Ben, is that it stayed. It rode the line pretty well of not overusing him. And his cuteness had value in terms of, again, the scene, like you mentioned, where it's like, hey, go bring the thing. And then he brings that. And he's like, no, it looks like this. And then he brings something else. And that was funny. And that speaks to it. But it wasn't like completely overused. Sorry, Matthew, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's kind of like an Ewok where, I'm sure people didn't like Ewoks back in 1983, but in hindsight,
still doesn't.
I don't know. They add value to the movie. I think Baby Groot adds value to the movie, and he doesn't overstay his welcome, which could have easily happened.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was in every scene. You had the opening, you had the whole go get the Finn section, and you had the bomb section, and they were kind of the most focused on the Baby Groot. And otherwise, he was just one of the other characters that might have been in the room, but they didn't. He didn't have to be the center of every, conversation or every scene,
Having said that, I miss Volume 1 Groot so much. Like, that is the definitive Groot, and we never really got that again. Even
no, we didn't.
We get like the King Groot.
He becomes like Groot.
It was. I think his actual. People were. You mean from the holiday special?
No, I'm talking about in part 3. He's like,
in part 3, but
it's like
right. They were calling him Swole Groot was actually the name that went around at the time.
They should have called him Groot. Is that prime?
Yeah. So, but I miss
I want
the original Groot.
Anytime someone calls him Groot, I want a nickel.
There you go. And so talk about the soundtrack now. You can't talk about a Guardians movie without the soundtrack.
Have I mentioned how much I love music in general? Like I'm listening to music all the time, and this soundtrack. And don't get me wrong, I love the soundtrack on the first movie. That the first movie killed it with the soundtrack. But what I love so much, and I already said this a little bit, is that they bring back songs that people had largely forgotten. And Mr. Blue Sky is a perfect example. I love ELO to be, for starters. I love Electric Light Orchestra. So of all of the songs that they've done, I almost never hear people talking about Mr. Blue Sky. So hearing that come back was great.
Well, if you watched the 2008 movie, The Game Plan, you heard that song in there. So just saying,
never saw it.
Yes, you do.
And even like some songs in this movie that you've heard over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
In other movies like The Chain, Fleetwood Mac, The Chain.
Fleetwood Mac is great,
but it's so
how
good
they're matched with the scenes. Yeah.
It plays when he first goes off with his dad, and it plays at the end when him and his dad are fight. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I like how the music is like a character in the Guardians movies versus just background music. Even to the point of like, what was it when they were on the show? Like, do you have any of Peter's music? Like that was an important part of the plan there when they were trying to get out of the scene with Taserface and had them
come a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer by Jay and the
Yeah.
And I love that song. And I also, by the way, earlier in the podcast, I said the name wrong. It was Lakeshore Drive is by Aliata Haynes Jeremiah, not James. Jeremiah. I knew it was another name, but Lakeshore Drive is another song that I love, and no one ever thinks about it. And also Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell. Love that song.
Sam Cooke, when you get another kind of like almost love, will they, won't they?
Yeah, Bring It On, Honey. Yeah.
Yeah, Bring It On, Honey. Yep.
Father and Son by Cat Stevens is one of the classics. I love it. That's one of my favorite songs. And one of the few songs, I don't need to talk about that. I love that song. But also one thing that's...
We all know what you were going to say, Josh.
No,
you don't.
No.
Okay. All right.
But another thing that's very interesting, the couple of times, but specifically Kurt Russell says that, or not Kurt Russell, Ego says that Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass is the greatest composition known to man. And so they asked Elliot Lurie, the lead singer of Looking Glass, what he thought. And he said that he appreciates the sentiment, but he believes that it was Yesterday by Paul McCartney or Bridge Over Troubled Water by Paul Simon. I disagree with both of those, even though they're all great songs. The best composition of all time, hands down, is Desperado by Glenn Frey and Don Henley. And that's it. Like, Mozart got nothing on it.
Whoa, Tiger. Whoa.
All right. Timothy Chalamet's in the podcast today. My goodness.
What?
Yeah, no kidding.
What?
Oh.
Disparaging against old classic.
Against classic. Yeah.
Don't Chalamet us here, Josh. No Chalamet.
I'm not familiar with Timothy Chalamet very much. I've seen
it was just,
but I don't really like
Oh,
him.
he made a comment disparaging, like, was it opera or ballet or something?
Ballet.
Yeah,
Everybody
I'm not
jumped
disparaging.
down about it.
I'm not disparaging. I think Mozart is great. I think Beethoven is great, but I think the greatest composition of all time is Desperado. I also think John Williams are better composers than them. That's not saying they're not good, but John Williams is John Williams. You know, there's tiers.
That's
And
why
John
the premise
Williams
is
is
it's
top
okay
tier.
to it's okay to disagree, right?
Yeah,
The premise is completely, and I'll say that over and over again every time that if I need to, I'll say it in every show. The whole point is that we're allowed to disagree. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the world.
Right.
One of the questions I wanted to ask too, because we talked about it the last couple of times, especially is we talked about the villains.
Steal the entire talk about music. If anyone else wants to, because I like went on and on and on, and I didn't mean to not let anyone else talk. So, does anyone else want to say anything about music?
I think the volume 1 was a bit more iconic.
Okay, get out.
I tend to agree with Matthew there. Yeah.
I mean, the opening crawl, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better term, when he's dancing and singing with the little...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. Like I said, that was an excellent soundtrack. I just really appreciated that they brought back some really great songs that people hadn't been talking about in this movie.
No,
but
and
not to say the soundtrack on the first one it was great.
I just I don't know. I could find myself listening to Volume 1 soundtrack more than Volume 2. And maybe that's just because I like those types of songs better with more of a iconic beat. But that's just
as Heather was saying, like the soundtrack is a character in and of itself in these movies. 3 does the same thing where it's very different. It's more 90s, early 90s, mid 90s stuff. So yeah, it's so great that he kind of creates that new sort of tone with each one of these movies based on those soundtracks. Because now he's got the Zune. He's got that high-tech machinery.
Right. Dude, I miss the Zune, man. Ugh. I had one of those when I went jogging. I'd put it on my little armband and stuff.
All of those devices are gone now. Even iPods, like we don't really use them anymore because why we need them? We got streaming.
Well, I have 2 iPods. So.
I have an iPod. I have 2 iPods too, but I only use one. But I really don't use any of them anymore.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to ask is we talked about, coming back to Ego, we talked about MCU villains the last couple of times and how they're one-dimensional or there was some more depth and that type of thing. Ego as a villain in this one. I obviously there was depth there and that type of thing. You think? See, that's the thing. Do you still feel like he's one-dimensional? Well, why do you feel like he's one-dimensional?
Well, with Ego, it seemed like he did just have one goal, and that's to make all life in the universe him. Like there was no other. Like that's how deep he was. I must turn the entire universe into more of me, and get rid of all other life.
He was.
Yeah, it would have been more
ego.
interesting if he was actually torn.
Ego was very aptly named. Yeah.
Yeah. When he says, "I'm gonna have you spend the next 1,000 years as a battery," you're like, okay, he doesn't really care about Peter at all. It kind of would have been more interesting if he was torn between making Peter do something he didn't want to do, but he really didn't care at the end of the day.
Just like you saw the bones.
I still think he's
there was fake depth.
Oh yeah.
There was fake depth to him.
Yeah.
So
it
seems like it's going to be something, and then it just flattened out. Yeah.
Huge pile of skeletons of his other kids. So
that was terrifying to see.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This movie had
go look in your father's basement. Just make sure.
If you look into, he's coming over after the podcast. He can find him. But the thing is that like I said, if you look back at the scenes in this movie, the Yondu in the brothel, the sending all the people who are the Ravagers who were loyal to Yondu and just shoot him out into space, and they're like, "Captain, wake up!" and he's just sitting there like that, and you're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like to me, I was like, again on the rewatch, I was like, "Wow, this is like harsher than I remember it being." Like
a bit dark.
I like.
Yeah, it's then the bones at the bottom with all the kids. I mean, who knows how many were down there. It's just like, wow, there was like some really kind of dark type of stuff, and it wasn't just my mommy and daddy slowed me into slavery, or I'm Rocket and I was a experiment. It was like really dark type stuff. I don't know. That's what really caught me most out of anything.
Yeah,
but I do agree with Nebula. Ben, though.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Ben. Like, Ego may have been one-dimensional, but he was still a great bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was like what we said with Caecilius last week. With Doctor Strange. I think Caecilius had a bit more depth than.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Before. But I do like Ego. I think Kurt Russell was perfectly cast.
He's always perfectly cast.
I do think I think this movie was a little stuffed with MacGuffins, though. Like, if he's a Celestial and he has the power to create his own planet, why does he need an offspring to create more planets? Like, and then the quantum asteroid field. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of plot devices that were just
quantum asteroid field.
I was like, that's a bit of a stretch to me as a viewer. Even on the rewatch, it's like that feels a little tongue in the cheek type of storytelling just to push the plot forward, and the whole limitations of Ego. Because not super familiar with his power limit in the comics. I know what he is in the comic books, and I was familiar with this character, but you're going to tell me a guy who can blow up a dozen ships with the wave of his hand can't create at least a second planet of himself? I don't know.
Well, they don't say he's going to make a second planet, though. He's doing all the planets.
Why didn't he just create his own battery? Why this whole thing of like, having to impregnate the universe or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying like he wasn't just trying to make a second planet. He was trying to take all of them.
Instead of going after Peter, he should have just gone after those 6 Infinity Stones. Oh, wait, that's Thanos. Sorry.
I thought there was a line in there where Peter's relevance to him was more of just, maybe I'm wrong. I thought he said like, I need an offspring. I need some
Celestials.
Yeah, I need something there that is mine organically that I didn't create by my power source or whatever. But I can't remember exactly why that mattered.
Like he needs the power of 2 Celestials.
Yeah.
One isn't enough.
But that wasn't explained, and that's why.
No, it wasn't.
It was a single line. It was a single throw.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
From a non-comic person, I would say the power of a Celestial really wasn't explained. by this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
We don't know what their
powerful,
limits are.
but
We still don't know what their powers are.
Yeah.
Creating offspring, because you see that again in Eternals.
Well, we're going to get into that a lot
Okay.
when we get like Thanos' power source and how that variates like constantly throughout his two big movies. Like, how strong is this
Right.
guy? What? Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if there's this is something that we can talk about, but I've said many times I tend to look at movies very. I tend to think of myself as very simple when it comes to movies. I don't look at much beyond, this is what I'm seeing. This is the story. Do I like it? Am I entertained or not? And that's how I judge movies. So this is a little bit out of my field, but I did notice watching the cinematography because of the color scheme. This is easily, and last week we talked about how visually interesting Doctor Strange is.
Yeah.
But this one is the most colorful.
Yeah. I chimed in on your guys' comments last week on that because I was like, Guardians 2 is very expressive with, even when you see the Yondu going through his sort of, they're going to burn him, give him that sort of Viking funeral. Why is the fire like 10 different colors? It doesn't matter. It's just gorgeous,
Yeah. So, even the creature at the beginning is like, it looks like it's vomiting rainbows.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's James
I was too
Gunn
busy
for
watching
you.
the dancing Baby Groot, so
Yeah, I guess
I did not see rainbow vomit
right
anywhere.
before the era where Marvel started to get real cheap with that kind of stuff, because this one, the budget shows getting on Ego's planet and oh my god, and the bubbles and just all that stuff looks so incredible.
Yeah,
and if that were made now, it'd look like Ant-Man Quantum Mania.
You turn up the brightness. You turn up the brightness on this movie, and you're just like, whoa, like colors everywhere.
Yeah. Was there anything else anybody wanted to bring up before we go into the final segment?
I wanted to quickly bring up Kraglin because I love Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn is such a Renaissance man. He's just done so much. I know people say, well, he's James Gunn's brother, but he's really good at what he does. Motion cap. And he gets a lot more to do in this movie, which is fun. And I think a little bit even more in the third one. But I just want to give some respect to Kraglin because I kind of love that character. He's goofy.
Yeah. He barely shows up in the first one. So he's got a much bigger part in this one. And that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he goes from Kraglin to Maxwell Lord. But we won't talk about that. That was my DC. That was my Superman reference. Yeah, he's
oh, that's right.
Not he's in the Superman movie. He sponsors the Justice King.
Has he been in a movie yet? Or
he was in Superman, just for like a one shot at the end.
Oh wow, I must have missed that.
He's Max Lord, and he's like, I think we can all say that, like, for once, Democrats and Republicans can agree on one thing, and that's Lex Luthor sucks. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you're right. He is a great actor in his own right. I mean, I think back on Gilmore Girls. I mean, his character in that was awesome, and he played that. I knew Heather was going to be like, "Oh my god, I love Gilmore Girls. It's so great. I want to live in Stars Hollow." I mean, he's really good. He is really good in his own right. Yeah, he's his brother, but I mean, he definitely stands on his own 2 feet when it comes to his acting ability and that type of thing. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was his brother, honestly.
Really?
So yeah, this is new info.
If you see them stand next to each other, you'll see it immediately. But yeah, I could see why you wouldn't see it right away.
I don't follow actors and actresses the way you guys do. So, but yeah, no, I love him. And I liked him in this movie, and I like that the face of regret when he realizes, that all his friends got killed and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, final verdict. What do you guys think? Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Heather, go.
I liked it. Again, a good part of that probably is the Baby Groot. I got sucked into that one. And but yeah, I like whoever mentioned it, the notion of chosen family. I like that as a theme throughout this, with all these different relationships. A little bit eye roll on the excess of humor that just wasn't necessary to tell the story.
But you still liked it,
Matthew?
more than the.
I still liked it. Yeah.
More than the first.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
I think I did. I liked it story-wise a little more than the first one. And maybe that's just because now I at least know who some of these characters are. And I wanted to know more about them at this point. So.
Matthew?
I think the Guardians movies get progressively worse as they continue on. I think this one is below the first one for me, definitely. I think I said the first one's in my top 5, and I really like it. This one just doesn't land like it should. And I think a lot of that's in part to the humor and then kind of a choppier storyline. It's not to say it's a terrible movie. If you'd asked me back in 2017, I would have been like, that's a bad movie. But now it's an okay movie. I think it falls in the lower half of the MCU for me. I think I have it at 21st place right now. Yep, 21st.
You're specific.
Well, you know what? There's people that care. Out of the 25 people that listen to us, there's some people that care about that number.
It's more than
I know.
that.
Everybody's waiting for your number, your grade.
Yeah, just my number. All 3 of you who care. Anyway, no, it's an okay movie. It's not one I ever look forward to rewatching, though. And I'll probably wait another 10 years before I rewatch it again if I have to. So,
wow.
Wow. Ben, what do you think?
I love this movie. I've said many times that this is my favorite trilogy of these MCU movies. I don't. I've heard people say the same thing Matthew did, so I'm not. Agree, disagree. That's the whole point of the show. I love all 3 of these films for different reasons. They explore different things. They all feel different, not just from their soundtracks. But this one, for me, it hit hard through its themes. Yeah, the tone was different. I agree with a lot of stuff we talked about today as far as stuffing a lot into sort of the last 45 minutes of this to kind of complete arcs and even start and complete arcs. But I just have a blast with these movies. I love the main cast. I mean, Kurt Russell's just a national treasure. The inclusion of more Gamora and a little bit more Yondu. It's just so much fun. All the nitpicks I gave it were just because of how much I enjoy this movie. So I love this movie. I love it.
I thought I'll give Josh the final word after this. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I still thought there was enough of the first one in it that I did enjoy it. And again, on the rewatch, it was good. And I appreciate now. I mean, even though we've had all these movies since then, I even rewatching it, even if it was still 2017 and I got it, I'm watching the Blu-ray or the DVD. I think I'd appreciate more, and I did this time, watching, the relationships and how they went. I thought they did a good job of expanding the characters, giving them depth. As we go into 3 and as we continue to see the characters in like Infinity War and Endgame, I thought that was really good. So I thought it was a good movie.
And I have to agree with. Well, I mean, I do agree with what I think the phrase you said, Matthew, was diminishing returns. I like the first one the best, the second one second best, and the third one third. But I don't think any of them are bad movies. I love all 3 of them. The first one is still my favorite, but I still love watching this movie. This is such a good movie. And part of it is because of Kurt Russell. I don't want to gush over him anymore, but I think Kurt Russell is like one of my favorite actors. Not the best, but the best is still John Lithgow. I
thought you were going to say David Hasselhoff.
No, but I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you gotta love a guy with a talking car. I mean, come on. And the talking car is Dr. What's his name? Mr. Feeney. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so, from Boy Meets World. Yep.
So I absolutely love this movie, and I'm always looking forward to it on a rewatch. I also always look forward. This is the famous segue. I always look forward to watching the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is Spider-Man: Homecoming. which we will be talking about next week. Before then, I do want to say thank you to Heather and Matthew and Bob and Ben. Thank you very much for being here, and he's helping us to get started with our video podcast, which we're delving into.
Watch Cinema Gulp. Watch Cinema Gulp.
Yes, definitely watch Cinema Gulp. We've been watching Gulp. We've been watching it. We'll add the link in the description.
Yep.
And they just had their 10-year anniversary,
which was awesome.
Live cast. That was cool. And we're going to continue watching them. If you haven't, I did want to mention, for those of you who listen to our podcast on anything other than YouTube, if you want to see us and see what we look like, we're on YouTube now. We've been on YouTube, but now you can actually see us on camera.
If you want to. If you
are glutton for punishment.
But not while you're driving.
Yes, not while you're driving.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I want to thank you all. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. And as always, make tomorrow better than yesterday.